right, welcome to another edition of the Above the Bridge podcast. I'm your host, Thaddeus. So this week, we're going to drop this episode a little early because of my guests, and we're trying to do it before the Super Bowl. First up, we have to shout out our sponsors. Defend Hawaii, that's been my biggest sponsor from the start. So if you were to go to defendhawaii.com, check out what they have. They have all these cool hats, gear, t-shirts, Defend Hawaii. They also have a store in Windward Mall called No One. Go check them out. If you're on their website, use promo code ATBPod upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Next up, we have iRep Detail Supply. They have a store in Temple Valley Shopping Center. They have every single thing you can imagine that you can use to detail your car. Waxes, polishes, brushes, scrubs, the stuff to get the gunk off of your window. Anything you can think of, they got it. Go visit Ikaika at the store or go to irepdetailsupply.com. Use promo code ATBPod upon checkout. You'll receive 15% off your entire purchase order. Last, we have Hawaii Candy Factory, and this brand, you see them everywhere. They have these crazy packaging called noms, and they have a bunch of gushers and lihimui gummies and dino eggs and belts and anything you can think of with candy. They put lihimui on it and lemon peel, and they come up with a bunch of crazy concoctions, and it's always the best candy you can think of. Go to hawaiicandyfactory.com, promo code ATBPod upon checkout. You'll receive 10% off your entire purchase order. So this week we're gonna drop this episode a little early because it's Super Bowl Sunday coming up. And my guest for this episode is Eagles cheerleader from Hawaii, Corinne Chun. What's up? How you been? You must be super excited this week.
I am. There has been so many things going on here in Philly. Philly fans are very passionate about their city. So you can just imagine all the different activities and events that we've been having all week. We have some cheerleaders that are already in Arizona, and they've been doing a ton of things there. So we're just really excited for the game coming up on Sunday.
All right. Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not too happy about the Eagles being in the Super Bowl because they took out my Niners. But if it was gonna be a team, I would say I would be glad it is the Eagles. A lot of my close friends are Eagles fans, and if I'm not gonna get it, then I hope that they do. But I want to know, like, I have so many questions, like being that you were there for the NFC Championship game and on the field and in the stadium with that win and the vibe. Like, how was that experience? I can't even imagine that feeling.
I mean, any Eagles game, the fans show up no matter what. We had a rain game this season that literally like was pouring nonstop, and the crowd was still there till the end of the game. So they are very passionate. As I said, they're always there no matter what. So when it comes to playoff times, it's even crazier. I don't know if you heard if it made national news, but we actually had for the first playoff game at home, there was a lacrosse game that was going on at Wells Fargo parking lot. And if you've ever been to the link, they actually have, we call it the sports complex because we have all of our stadiums next to each other. So the football stadiums right next to the baseball stadium and next to the hockey and the basketball arena. So people actually bought tickets to the lacrosse game so that they could get in it to the parking lots at 8 a.m. to tailgate for the game. Because if you didn't have a ticket for the lacrosse game, you couldn't get into the parking lot until like 2 p.m. So Eagles fans are very dedicated and very smart when it comes to that kind of thing. So they have been tailgating since 8 a.m. for every single game we have, whether it's a 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 8 o'clock game. So yeah, it's crazy just even driving, and we get there like 5 hours before a game even starts. we have practices, and then we get ready and we do appearances and tailgates and different things around the stadium. So we're always there extra early, but there are fans that are still waiting in line while we're driving in.
Well, that kind
Yeah.
of would suck for the lacrosse team. Nobody, they're just being used and nobody's coming to check them out.
I mean, I'm sure there were still fans in there and people definitely probably attended, they had something to do, but hey, I mean, it got them kind of recognized, and hopefully more people go to the events now. So it's one way to
So,
think about it.
so straight up, did you think the Eagles were gonna win that game, or were you nervous?
So, I mean, obviously, always have faith in the coaches and in our players. I think, if they put their best foot out there, that they're a pretty tough team to beat. And they've showed that, especially this season with their record. I've been through the highs and the lows. I started off, fortunately, with a Super Bowl run, and now I'm ending things the same way, which is pretty phenomenal. But we did have some rough patches in between, and that always happens. But again, like I said, one thing about Philly fans is they know, like, if their team is doing good, they're cheering, and if they're doing bad, they're gonna cheer them in a different way that encourages them to do even better. So I love that about Philly fans.
That's crazy. And I guess like you guys won the NFC championship. They had an award ceremony with all the confetti and you guys were on the field. Your parents were there. Like that must have been an experience not only for them, but to experience it with them. How was that? That must have been crazy.
Yes, we were very fortunate. At the end, after all, the ceremony was over and things like that, they were able to come onto the fields, and they were able to play in the confetti with me. And I even have a little bag full that I created and I turned into a picture frame for myself and also for the rest of my squad. So it's kind of a fun way to kind of commemorate that moment, and just be excited. One thing I remember about Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota is that game obviously came down to the wire, and we had confetti cannons that were in front of us. And I remember there being a box of green and white and black confetti and a box of red, white, and blue confetti. And I was just looking at those boxes, waiting to see which one was going to be picked up
Oh,
and loaded into the cannon. So anytime to be able to see our colors flying in the sky is pretty incredible.
that's cool. Well, that makes me also sad because I know there was some random red and gold box sitting on the side that nobody cared about.
Yes, yeah, I'm sorry.
So where you are your parents Eagles fans or they just became fans because you were a cheerleader?
They became fans because I'm a cheerleader. They're my number one cheerleaders. So I grew up. My mom is originally from Chicago, and so her father was a very passionate football fan, and because he is from Chicago, he grew up a Chicago Bears fan, and so that's kind of how I first got into football and just understanding all of it. I remember on Sundays watching the games with him, and that's kind of how we bonded.
Oh,
And
that's
then over
cool.
the years in middle school, I worked on the football team, and the coaches were really nice. We weren't just like the water girls. We actually, like, I took some defensive stats, and were able to recognize different plays. So I learned a lot more about football that way. Um, and I had done gymnastics growing up as well, and then that kind of turned into cheerleading. So when I was a freshman, I tried out for our high school cheerleading team up at Kamehameha, and I was able to make it onto the varsity squad. And so that's also how I first discovered the best seats in the house, even though they're not really seats, is basically cheering on the sidelines. So it's kind of the
That's
best of both worlds. I got to have my passion for cheer and also, be able to get a front row seat to watching a football game.
Oh, that's cool. So you're not just a cheerleader, like you're an actual football fan.
I am. Yes, I grew up a football fan. So yeah, I was cheering on for the Bears early on in my career, because that was my grandfather's team. And then when I started learning more about football, I kind of picked my own team. And the Eagles have now become my number one team. Really
Okay,
just
wait. What was the team that you picked prior to being a cheerleader at the Eagles?
So growing up, obviously being in Hawaii, I honestly don't remember seeing any Eagles or any really East Coast teams. And that's just because I feel like we were either still sleeping or they just never showed them. So I actually watched a lot of your favorite team growing up. And so I definitely rooted for them a lot over the years. Um
Alrighty. So you're originally a 49er fan before being an Eagles cheerleader. You can say it. It's okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
cool. I mean,
But
it's cool that you're actually a fan of the sport. And let's back it up. So you cheered for Kamehameha and did all the ILH games and all that. And so how was that experience? I know Kamehameha, they do travel and compete, right?
yes, yeah. When I was cheering up there, we went to nationals, which was in Florida at the Wild World of Sports. So we actually were national champions my rookie season or my freshman year, and then also
Wow.
my senior year. So it's kind of a cool, surreal moment. My parents talked a lot about it this year too, and kind of that feel of, hey, like you did it in high school, like why, what if you do it again now in the professional setting? And it's kind of come full circle in that moment, which is neat. Um, but yeah, we competed in Florida, and then obviously ILH states. We won a lot of those titles when I was cheering for them. It was really cool because like I said, it combined my love of gymnastics and then also being able to, be on the field and just. I mean, we're athletes. A lot of people don't recognize cheerleading as a sport. We probably have the number one like injuries over
Yeah.
football and other things just because of, we're throwing people in the air and doing things like that. So it does take a lot. But what's kind of cool is that when you cheer professionally, it's actually a combination of dancers and cheerleaders. So not everybody comes from the cheer world. And every cheer team is different. For us, we're very diverse, and that's one of the cool things that I love about our choreographer that we have is she really pushes us to be the best versions of ourselves, and she combines all of our talents, whether it be stunting, tumbling, to do like hip hop, jazz routines. Like we kind of do all different styles. On the sidelines. So a lot of the times we're doing that with palms, or we may have a routine that we're just using our hands or some other kind of prop. So it's really just made things fun on game days.
Oh, that's cool. And after your high school experience, were you able to be a cheerleader in the college?
Yeah, so I went to Oregon State for my undergrad, and I cheered my first year there. But then I kind of was just focused on school, and obviously, like a good way to pay for school. So I became a RA in the dorms, and so I did that for a number of years. But then when I moved back home to Hawaii after I graduated, I actually went back to Kamehameha and I started coaching their middle school cheerleading team. And then I also coached the elementary school that I taught at. We had a little cheerleading squad.
Oh, wow.
So that was kind of my way, not only to give back, but also, to still um, kind of live through my passion of gymnastics and of cheerleading through them. So that was a lot of fun. And they were kind of the reason that kind of pushed me and made me want to go back and try out professionally because I always thought, that would be so cool, especially having the Pro Bowl out in Hawaii and being able to see, the cheerleaders there and things like that. But I always thought, ooh, like, I don't think I can do that. Or as the years went on, I'm like, oh, maybe I'm like, I'm getting too old that this isn't a possibility anymore for me. Um, but then one day I was like, you know what? Like, they had a group of Pro Bowl cheerleaders that came to Kamehameha and were talking to the girls before they went to nationals. And one of them shared about how she was also an elementary school special education teacher and she was a professional cheerleader. And I was like, if she can do it, like, why can't I? So that was kind of my final push to be like, all right, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to just see what it's all about and see if I can make a team. So, and that's kind of how that process and that journey started.
Oh, wow. So you were actually a um elementary school teacher in Lehoku, right? In Waianae.
Hmm. Yes,
So
I
you,
taught at Lehoku Elementary School.
Yeah, so you were done with school, you had your career going, and you're on a path nowhere near cheering except for coaching, and then you had an opportunity. So I want to know, like, start from the beginning. How did that journey start when you became a cheerleader? And I have no idea how anybody can get there, or how it works, or how does anybody even like sign up for that?
Yeah. So, I didn't get a yes on my first go around. I actually tried out 3 different times prior to making it to the Eagles. I didn't always try out for the Eagles though. I went actually to your team
Oh, you
and
tried out for the
I
Niners.
I went up with a friend of mine,
Oh, wow.
and we went up together. We both made it all the way to finals. And every team is different how their tryout process works, but typically what it is you'll have, various rounds, and you'll learn choreography and you'll perform it for the judges. There'll be interviews. Sometimes they have like a dance actual rehearsal, and they're going to be, judging you and scoring you there. And then you have finals, which is when you actually do those performances. Sometimes you have a solo. It really, again, depends on the squad. Some squads also have like football tests so that you have to take, to just show that you understand the basic
Oh.
knowledge of football. And so I had made it to the final round. And unfortunately, my name was not one of those called when they announced the squad. But and it's always tough hearing no, but that kind of was eye-opening in the sense of like, okay, like, hey, like I still got this. I made it all the way to the end my first time. Like
Yeah.
this might be an actual possibility. Let me keep giving it a shot. And one of my friends back home is a personal trainer, so I went to him asking him for help and getting me in shape. I have another friend, also from Kamehameha, who, is a dance instructor, and I asked her to like take some lessons and stuff. So I just tried to find different ways to kind of just improve on my craft so that when
Oh,
I went
wow.
back the following year, I'd be, a little bit more like ready to go with the audition process. And without the support from my staff at Leihoku, like they were all my number one supporters. And they allowed me, even my students, like they were very understanding. I always was honest with them about like what I was doing and, trying to pursue this dream that I had. And so they understood if they had a sub, like, and Miss Korean, Miss Chun is going to be gone for a week, this is why. So it was really just great to like have that support from everybody there as well, as my family and friends. Um, but I went through that a second time. Unfortunately, I got the same result of a no.
Which team was that?
And then I went back again
Oh,
to
so
the
the
Niners to
Niners, you
try
got
again.
denied twice for the Niners.
Yeah. So,
Ah,
but then look what happened at the national at the NFC championship game.
I know.
So
Well, like you said, like your rookie year, you guys went to the Super Bowl and won. So
we
I'm
we
thinking
did.
maybe we messed up on that luck. Like you would have been our good luck. But
Yeah.
how many girls actually try out?
Again, it varies. So I want to say though, probably between 400, depending on the
Oh,
team.
wow.
Especially in the first round. When you get to finals, it's probably closer to like maybe 80 to 100 or less, depending again on the team you try out for. Um, but I went to another team after that because I was looking at going to grad school and pursuing more of my education. So I tried out for another team, and then same thing, I got a no. But again, like every team is different, and they have unique needs and also just like styles. And sometimes like what I try to tell people too is like it sounds cliche, but it's not always you. Like you are good enough if you really put your heart and your mind to it. It's just a matter of, it's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So you might not be what they're looking for at the time, or you don't have the skill sets that they're looking for, but don't give up. Like keep trying. And I feel like I'm kind of an example of that, because on my fourth time when I went to Philadelphia and I was like, you know what, this is my last shot. I'm gonna give it all I got. Um, and my coach saw something special in me, and ended up saying yes, and I was able to be on the squad. And like I said, yeah, that was my rookie season when we went all the way to the Super Bowl. So it was a pretty incredible journey. And that whole process I did on my own. Like I had to fly up. That for us, we take over like a month, maybe a month and a half, 2 months for the audition process. Some teams are quick, some are just like a week. So I was like flying back and forth
Oh, wow.
during the audition process to do the interview, to do semifinals, to have prelims, to go back for finals. Um, but the one memory that I love the most, and this is why I say like my Lehoku family like definitely supported me, is they used to live stream the finals. And so they all watched it from school and were cheering me on. And I got a video when my name was announced of like happy,
Oh.
sad tears, because, you know, they were so happy for me that my dream had finally come true. But then they knew, and the reality was, okay, well, that means we're losing her and she's not coming back next year. So it, you know, it's very sweet, and it was the kind of the thing that got me through the audition process, because it was kind of lonely, like being up there by myself. I remember the woman that was in front of me, and she had, this was like her fourth season on the team, so she had a bunch of fans in the audience, and of course everyone, when her name is called, is cheering nice and loud for her. And then I go up, and I did have two people, some friends in the stands, and but you know, they're shy. They didn't really yell or say anything.
Ah.
So then it was kind of just quiet. But I'm still, you know, trying to, and I'm just in my head. I'm like, okay, everyone's cheering at me, like from home. Like I can hear them through, you know, their computers, and they're cheering me on. So it helped get me through the whole audition process. But yeah, that's kind of a little bit about how at least my experience was with all of that. And every year we try out. So like once
Oh,
you make the
wow.
team, you have to try out again every single year. So I've gone through the audition process 5 times.
Oh, wow.
Um, so yeah, it's nerve-wracking, especially once you make the team, because you know what you've gotten to experience, and you know kind of what, you know, what you might lose out on if you don't make it back. So it's definitely been a rewarding experience to kind of just earn your spot back every single season, and be able to have your name called again to be on the squad.
Oh, that's crazy. I didn't know you had to re-audition every year. Does it help if you've been there the year before, or it's like a whole new bunch of girls?
Yeah, every year is a little bit different. I mean, you're always going to have new people that are trying out, and you're going to have people who are retiring at the end of the season. So there's always that turnover. But of course, you know, like when you're with your teammates and trying out, we're all cheering for each other. So it makes it a little bit easier. And I, you know, knowing that I had gone in my first year by myself, I always made it a point to try to make a new friend, and to always be friendly to the other candidates that were there. And to either give them pointers or tips, or you know, if they needed something, I'll be happy to answer questions for them. So really just trying to make the atmosphere feel comfortable, and I think that's always been the case. I've never felt, you know, like somebody was like angry or mad. Like we're all cheering for each other no matter what.
Oh, it wasn't like catty or anything like that. Like, oh, okay,
No,
that's cool.
no, yeah. So I mean, it makes it really special. That's, I mean, that's my experience that I've had. It could be different for others, but that's been really nice being up here and just being able to have the support of everybody each year.
Wow, I honestly had no idea you didn't make it like your first couple of times. So I'm impressed. I like the fact that you got denied and you said, okay, I'm gonna change some things up. I'm gonna work harder for it and try it again and try it again. And you had the strength to keep going back. And that for me probably made it I would think it would have been sweeter when you finally made it. And how was that feeling when they called your name the first time? You must have been like ecstatic, like, yeah, I did it. Like that must have been
Yeah, I was
awesome.
I was holding a stranger's hand, which ended up being my teammate, once we both made the team. But I just remember holding her hand, and when your name is called, you're supposed to walk to the front and like wave and acknowledge. But I was in such shock that I literally just like walked on the stage and then just found a new friend that was on the stage and like congratulated them and just like stood there. And I was like, oh no, I was supposed to go in the front. But at that point, it was like too late. So yeah, it definitely, was pretty surreal. And then going back afterwards and calling my parents because they obviously were watching on the live stream. They all knew what was happening. But just being able to talk to them and be like, okay, like here's the process of moving all the way across the Pacific Ocean in the United States and like what's gonna happen now. And again, like my coworkers and family and friends were so supportive, and my students were also again like kind of bittersweet. They were excited for me but sad that I was going to be leaving. But I had friends come over, help doing packing parties, helping me pack up basically my life into 2 suitcases, and bringing it up here to Philly with me.
So, being in Philly, I mean, the weather's totally different than Hawaii. How did you like or do you like living in Philadelphia? I was honestly, I was born there, but was brought back to Hawaii like right after, so I have no idea how it is there. But do you like living there, and what was it like when you first moved there?
Yeah, I mean, for me, because I lived in Oregon for my undergrad, we definitely had seasons. So I was kind of used to that. It's all about layering, I feel like, and during the winter time, I'm rocking my It's a Philly Thing beanie tonight. I know I'm indoors, but that's our motto for the playoff run and going into the Super
Yeah,
Bowl. It was a quote from our quarterback, Jalen Hurts.
I
So
heard it.
yes, yeah. I mean, hey, it really is. Like there's so many things about Philly that just make it so special and unique. So it's what makes it a Philly thing. But that's one of the reasons why I actually really love living out here. It's a bummer to be so far away from home. A 12-hour plane ride isn't the greatest. Um,
Yeah.
but I've like I said, I've adapted as far as the weather goes. That's easy. You just uh, add layers or take off layers depending on the season. And I've learned to kind of know where things are in my area. What I think is so cool is the fact that you could literally, like for me where I live, I could drive 15 minutes and I'm either in Delaware or I'm in New Jersey. Like I'm in a different state. And I drive 2 hours and I can be up in New York. So just being able to kind of explore the East Coast a little bit more over these last few years have been really nice. And then also just like meeting different people. I have some teammates who have become some of my best friends, and I know we'll continue to be friends through the rest of our lives, which is really special. So I don't know, I feel like I've adapted really well to being in Philly. I still don't know all of the fun terms, and I don't have the accent that I can do. But I've had my fair share of Philly cheesesteaks and run up the Rocky Steps. Those were kind of
Oh
the things
yeah.
I had to do first, right? See the Liberty Bell, all those
Yeah.
classic things. So it's been fun. It's been a wild ride, and I've enjoyed every second being up here.
That's cool. So being a cheerleader, do you have to have another job as well, or like the pay for being a cheerleader takes care of everything is something you guys can live on, or you guys are working as well?
And so everybody has to have either a full-time job or be in school full-time.
Oh wow.
So this is just a part-time job that each of us have. It's kind of a fun way for us to bring one of our passions together and kind of live that out. And so, yeah, like I moved up here. I was an elementary school special education teacher. I kind of transitioned into becoming a registered behavior technician. So I work one-on-one with students with autism in their homes.
Oh wow.
So that job, still allows me to be in the realm of education, more focusing on the realm of autism, and also like kind of having that flexibility. So I'm not in school, a normal school day. and that allows me to do things with the organization and being able to do events. Because for us as cheerleaders, like it's not like we're just there on game day. We're global brand ambassadors, especially with the Philadelphia Eagles. We've been able to be on countless military tours across the world. We've done a ton of appearances and events. We've gone to the London Games.
Wow.
So Philly fans and Eagles fans are really everywhere. And so it's really cool to be able to reach them using this platform. Um, so we have playground builds that we do in our local community. We have Play 60 events, which is also in schools, you know, just helping kids to make sure they're active for 60 minutes a day. We do things from our local Dunkin' appearance where we have pep rallies for the playoff games and give free Dunkin' cards. Or we're at our local Wawa, which is kind of equivalent to a 7-Eleven. And so, you know, it could be the small little events like that to much bigger events. I've been fortunate enough to perform on a sold out concert with Queen.
Oh, wow.
Um, and I will never ever be a rock star because I can't sing, but to be on stage, standing where they were standing, just seeing how incredible that feeling is was really, really cool. So all these different ways we're able to reach Philly fans and Eagles fans. And what's crazy is like I just feel I don't know, I feel like even if like a lot of fans, right? Like for football, I mean, especially being in Hawaii, you don't really get the opportunity to go to football games.
Yeah.
So we're kind of that extension of the organization. So they might not ever meet a player or be able to go to a game, but if they can meet me or one of my teammates, you know, we're the way that they see the organization and we're the way that we get to interact with them. So if it's a little trading card that I give away or a hug or a high five or do a little dance with them, like they'll have that moment of like being able to interact with someone from the Eagles. So that's one of my favorite parts of being an Eagles cheerleader, being able to make that kind of an impact, whether or not it's on a small scale or a bigger scale.
Oh, that's pretty cool. And I guess you guys do a lot of community stuff and get to interact with the community. So how the community probably accepts you very, very strong because you're part of the Eagles. And um so you're retiring. This is your last season with the Eagles. Okay, what made you choose to be done with it?
So we have a cap. So we're
Oh,
actually we have to retire after a certain amount of years.
okay.
And it's nice because it gives others the opportunity to be able to fill this role, you know. Um to be honest, I mean I'm the oldest one on the squad and I could probably still do this for a couple more years just because of how special it is. I definitely feel like I would want to. But at the same time, like knowing that this was my last season, I've been able to kind of just be where my feet are and live in the moment and just
That's
enjoy
awesome.
every single game and event and practice that I've been at. So yeah, I mean it's kind of bittersweet knowing that this is it. But like I said, I mean we try out every single year. So every year I just try to have that mentality because you never know when it's going to be your last
Yeah.
season. So yeah, it's but this one's extra special knowing that okay, this is for sure it. And to have my family up here, I had a bunch of friends, you know, come throughout the years, but especially this year, knowing this is kind of like my farewell tour. It's like, this is your
Yeah.
last chance. If you want to see me cheer, this is your opportunity. So I had a lot of friends take me up on that, which I've been so happy for. I mean, it's always so much fun when you have, you know, people that you know that are in the stands that you can like cheer for and dance for. So and I was a captain this season, which is a really cool honor to have. There's only four captains every single year, and I'm able to lead like an entire squad of my teammates, and so that's a really cool honor. And so for everyone to kind of be able to see me in that role and not just as a cheerleader has been really cool.
Oh, that's super cool. And I guess that's good. You're like you don't have the option to do it again. So it's like you did the whole thing. You went through the whole thing and Yeah, that's pretty cool. So what are you gonna do next year? Like, are you gonna come back to Hawaii, or what is your plans for the future?
Yeah. So, I mean, technically, I've hung up my Eagles pom poms, but I could still cheer for another team if I wanted to. But right now, my focus is I actually went back to grad school for the second time.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and so I'm currently getting a graduate certificate in psychology, and I want to work. I'm getting my hours so that I can work to take my BCBA exam, so continuing in that role of working with students with autism. And so that's kind of my focus for right now. So I'll continue in my job and I'll continue taking my classes, and then hopefully once I pass, be able to kind of transition into that role. Um, and then I don't know, it's kind of whatever happens next. Obviously Hawaii will always be my home, and I think it would be so cool to be able to raise a family there. But it really is just a matter of, kind of what life brings. I feel like especially during the pandemic, like I always used to be a planner.
Yeah.
I loved planning things out, but then when COVID hit, it was like, okay, well, I can't plan anything because we can't do anything. And so I've
Yeah.
kind of changed my mindset a little bit. And like I said, one of our teammates, she has the saying like be where your feet are. And I really like that because again, it's just like focusing on the moment and what you have in front of you. And then just kind of seeing where that takes me. So I always have plans and ideas and things in the back of my mind. It's just a matter of which one works out for me when the moment presents itself. So we'll see.
That's cool. I feel like you're gonna probably end up coaching again at some point.
That would be a lot of fun. I loved it, and especially now, having that like professional aspect underneath my belt, even if it's for like, like private coaching or even working with people who want to pursue it professionally, things like that. Like that would be really neat too. So, I know, being from Hawaii, we sometimes don't feel like there's as many opportunities. And what's great is we have, I think, five this season, women who are around the NFL who are cheering for a team who have some
Oh,
kind of
wow.
tie back home to Hawaii, whether they were born here, whether or not they went to UH or, just went to school, whatever the case may be. So that's really cool that we have, so many women that are representing around the NFL, from Hawaii. So it's nice to be in good company with all of them. And I hope to inspire, more young women or even men if they want to pursue this dream. That'd be really cool because a lot of the squads now, like we have two male cheerleaders on our squad, and one of them's on my particular squad this season, and they're such a joy to have as well. So it's really cool that it's kind of opened up to everyone being able to have that opportunity. So it's really just if that's what you put your mind to and you give it your best, then I'm more than happy to support and be your cheerleader along the way.
Oh, that's super cool. Well, hopefully you do make it back to Hawaii, and yeah, that's cool that you have a carefree and kind of go with the flow mentality. And I
I'm
guess,
trying. It's hard
yeah.
sometimes. It is. But I, like I said, that's my job right now is just focusing on school and then kind of just seeing where life takes me after that.
Yeah, that's cool. And I guess it's kind of cool that you started your career, your team got to go to the Super Bowl and win, and now at the end of your career your team is back in the Super Bowl and hopefully they win. Do you get to go to the game? Are you cheering at the Super Bowl?
So, everyone always asks, like, do we travel with the team? So we never travel to any games except for the Super Bowl.
Oh,
So, I already have 8 teammates that are actually currently in Arizona, and they're doing events throughout the week there. And then the rest of the squad will be joining them on Thursday. So what's really cool is there's actually three of us that won't be there. I am one of them. But the reason for that is because we were picked with the opportunity to go on a Goodwill military tour. So we
Oh,
currently have two cheerleaders who are in parts of Germany and Europe, and they are celebrating with the troops there and visiting and doing junior cheer clinics and all these other events. And then I will be departing for Japan,
oh wow.
and I will be celebrating the Super Bowl in Japan on Monday morning
Oh
with
wow.
troops overseas. So it's kind of a really unique opportunity for me, and I'm very happy that I got it. You know, it's a little bittersweet to not be there with the squad. I was fortunate enough to go my rookie season, and so I
Oh,
had that
okay.
experience. But you know, now being able to be with troops who, you know, might not have been home in a number of years, especially with everything going on, and just being able to bring a bit of Philly there and a bit of Hawaii as always to them and to cheer on the team from there, I think will be a really, really cool experience. And it gives me the opportunity to actually cheer a little bit louder. I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about doing any dances. I can focus on the game and hopefully see my teammates on the sidelines and you know, hopefully cheer the Eagles on to a victory. So it's exciting.
Uh,
I'm looking forward to it.
that's cool. In Japan, they always have great food, so you'll be experiencing that. I guess
It'll
that's
be a
cool
little
that
like home. Yes, it's
yeah,
nice.
yeah, for sure. And it's cool that you got to experience a Super Bowl win already. So it's not like you're gonna not know what happened. So I guess that's pretty cool. Um Shoot, like Japan, so the troops, I didn't even think about that. When you're in Japan, you're right. It's gonna be Monday. It's not gonna be Sunday. So it'll be a little
Hmm.
weird, but I'm pretty sure the troops will be happy to see you and experience like the real NFL part of what they're doing. I didn't even know that Hawaii had, I mean, US had military still in Japan.
Yeah, so it's really neat with the different production companies that we work with. I'm going with Pro Tour Productions and Armed Forces Entertainment. And so they do things not only with NFL cheerleaders, but also with current and retired NFL players to provide that entertainment overseas, especially during the Super Bowl, because it's such, you know, a well viewed event here in the United States. And so to bring a little bit of home and normalcy to them, especially while they're serving overseas, is just really cool. And to have us there, you know, again, this might be their only opportunity that they ever meet NFL
Yeah.
cheerleaders. So I'll be traveling with a couple of the other teams, and we'll all be, you know, I'll be having them all root for the Eagles in this game. And you know, hopefully it'll hopefully be fun. But well, I
Oh,
was so surprised because I went on a Goodwill military tour last year, actually back home to Hawaii.
oh yeah.
And I met so many Eagles fans, which is weird because I feel like until I made the Eagles, I didn't really know a lot of Eagles fans. Um, but and it's not because they're not there because they clearly they exist, they're everywhere, but it's just kind of funny that like now having that connection, they're like, "Oh, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm a fan." And so it's really cool to like have them, you know, be there. I had one gentleman who was waiting for us. He knew we were coming and he saw that like there was going to be Eagles cheerleaders and he had his Super Bowl flag that he had like spread out and was holding for us when we came. He was doing the Eagles fight song. So it was
What
really
was it,
cool just to
Tomani?
like be able it was not.
Oh,
No, no,
okay.
no. This
It
was
sounds
actually
like
when we
something
were
he
on
would do. Okay.
this was when we were actually on base.
Oh, okay, okay.
So it was really cool. Servicemen, yeah, came over to us and did the chant with us, and he had footballs for us to sign and everything like that. So that was really neat. But yes, Tomani has come up for an Eagles game
Yeah,
here. Although I don't know if he's told you this, but when he goes to games, his teams don't tend to do very well,
I
which he did
know
not
that.
inform me until he came.
I wanted
So
him
you
to
can
go to the
you
game 2 weeks ago.
so you can imagine what happened when he came up for the game, but I still hope he had a wonderful experience. It was so fun
Yeah.
having him.
That was the first loss you guys had, right? When you guys were undefeated. See, he ruined your guys' season.
He didn't because we still made it to the
Yeah,
Super
that's
Bowl.
true.
So
That's
it's
true.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a diehard. It's one of our friends, and DJ Hoppa Boy and also Donnie are all Eagles fans. And because of that, I really want the Eagles to win, especially for Hapa. He's really had a rough year, and this win like will get him back into gear. But hopefully, Eagles can do it. I mean, yeah, I didn't realize that you guys, when they travel, you guys don't travel with them, because when we were in Vegas last year to watch the Eagles
Hmm.
play, you were sitting in the stands with us, and I was like, what, aren't you supposed to be on the field? But I guess the home team gets the cheerleaders, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Because I don't unless you're an NFL cheerleader, or if you know are there for the cheerleaders, you're watching the game most of the time, right? And
Yeah.
so I never really think about like what goes on game day. The Eagles came out with this really cool video this season that kind of shows a 24-hour look as to what it's like leading up to a game day. So you actually get to see so many different aspects of it. I'm featured in that because obviously, cheerleaders are a big part of that. We had a special guest for that game. So we practiced with him beforehand and had him come out to surprise and welcome all the fans. So it was really cool to like, you can actually see, what each department does and how much work goes into it. And that's what's crazy. So to go to like a different stadium and just be like, hey, we're here, like let's cheer, like it doesn't really work that way. Like they have so many things going on that make their stadium the unique like stadium that they are, wherever you go. And so it's kind of nice to be appreciative of like their production and what they put on. And the Eagles obviously strive to always do their best as well. So for us, we always have things that we do on game day, and we're in every corner of the stadium. Now for the Super Bowl, it's a little bit different. Like they're very much 50-50, right? Because we have two different teams. So we'll be on one of the sidelines and cheering just like we do. And the Kansas City Chiefs cheerleaders will be on the other side cheering as well. So it's kind of neat that you get to have that kind of sense of like sharing things together
Yeah.
for that game. And it's a cool way to meet other people as well. So yeah, it'll be fun. So now you know to look for them on the sidelines during the
Yeah.
games.
For sure. What I always wanted to know is, does the cheerleaders, how much do they get to intermingle with the players? Or is it like forbidden, don't mess with the players or anything like that?
Yeah, so we for the players, like their number one job and priority is obviously focused on the game and on practices and things like that, right? And for us, like I said, we all have full-time jobs. So we have rehearsals, but our rehearsals usually happen after work in the evening times. So it's not like we really see them very often, and when we do, we're at events and appearances, just like us, they go out into the community. They do a great job with the playground bills every single year and painting the murals at the schools. And they have a bunch of other community events that they go to. One of my favorites from this year is we did a packing event of packing oatmeal to donate then to Phil Abundance, which is one of our local groups that donate food to those in need. And so we were kind of competing with some of the players that were at the table next
Uh
to us to see who could pack, how much food first. So they were getting a little jealous because we obviously won. But so it's fun. It's cool to just see them again out in the community and do things like that. But their job is to focus on the game, and our job is to focus on our craft. So that's kind of how it is. Yeah.
what does, and like, I mean, I'm gonna ask this question. Does any time where the players ever hook up with the cheerleaders, like in high school kind of thing? Like, you know what I mean? It's always
No,
the, oh, okay, it's just,
I mean we're all professionals, we're all adults, right? So it's kind of just everyone has their own life and things like that.
yeah,
I understand people ask the question. We live in a world like they kind of seem like celebrities. It's kind
yeah.
of hard when like we're the same age and they're just you know adults just like I am. So it's kind of like they're just doing their job. It kind of loses that like celebrity aspect, I guess, if you but yeah, they've all everyone that I've met. There's such like I just feel like it's such a family here. And I've felt that since the moment that I've walked into the door and like been here, and to be able um to kind of have them, like accept me with the cheer team and being like kind of sisters and brothers for life. And I feel like the team itself is also very family oriented, and they all have each other's backs, and that's why you've seen they've been so successful even this season. So it's a great organization to be a part of, and I've loved being a part of it.
Oh, nice. What would be one of the craziest things you experience? Like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Like as a cheerleader or in your career.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I think
Wait, I want to know a good
oh,
experience and a bad experience.
I don't honestly have any bad experiences. I
Oh,
know
okay.
that maybe sounds cliche, but I mean, like I said, whether it's, a local coffee shop that we're going into or performing, on the stage with Queen, like each of those have their own purpose. And I always, find someone that I've loved interacting with. So that's been really cool and special. My favorite, I mean, the Super Bowl, right, has to be my favorite or most
Yeah,
memorable experience. That was the first time that the Eagles ever won a Super Bowl. So to be able
that's
to bring
true.
that Lombardi trophy home was pretty incredible. So I definitely will have that memory for the rest of my life. And even being a part of the parade and being
Oh
able
yeah.
to go down Broad Street where you turned every single corner and there were just fans everywhere, on the ground, in the trees, in the buildings, on top of the buildings. Like everywhere you looked, there were fans celebrating this victory. So that those two moments I think were some of the most special moments that I've had.
Oh, well, hopefully you get to experience that parade again, like just a couple weeks away, hopefully, right? If they win, and then it'll happen right after. When do you come back from Japan?
I will be back next week. So yes, I
Oh,
will
okay.
be here if we are able to have a parade.
Yeah, that'll be super cool. So, last thing I want to ask you is a lot of girls have the dream of being an NFL cheerleader, especially girls in Hawaii. What would your advice be to them straight up? Like, what would you tell them? Because you got denied a few times and came back at it and finally reached your goal. So, I mean, you probably have a lot of cool things to say. What would be your advice to them?
Yeah, I kind of like what I said before. I think you really just have to be confident in your own skin and just really like if this is something that you want to do, put your mind to it. And don't be discouraged if you get a couple no's. I have another teammate who's tried out 7 times before she got her yes.
Oh, wow.
So again, it's kind of like right place, right time, and sometimes right organization. I know you may love a team very much and you really want to live in that city or whatever the case may be, and maybe they're just not the right fit. And if you go and kind of open up, the possibility to going somebody else and seeing if if that's the right team for you, then you might get that opportunity there. So I definitely, you just say never give up, always just try to your best. And then also just really kind of like, I guess what I did when I was looking at colleges, like you also want to look at the organization. It's not just about, oh, like this is a good football team. You know what I mean? Like you're going to be working for the organization. So you want to make sure that you're looking for organization that has the same maybe goals or passions that you do. I'm really lucky where our owner, Jeffrey Laurie, his focus is on autism research. So he's created the Eagles Autism Foundation, and they've raised millions of dollars over the last 5 years. We have a run, walk, bike event every single year where the cheerleaders have our own squad and team where that you could join as well. And you could come to the event with us and either ride a bike, walk, or run with us. They even have a sensory walk for those that need to just have more sensory friendly environments. And what's really cool is we're actually the first like professional stadium as well to have a sensory room. So it allows those who have autism to be able to still come to the stadium for different
Oh,
events,
wow.
whether it's a football game or something else. And if they need to, they can go to the sensory room to be able to relax or, refocus on what they need to do before going back out. So it gives those families who maybe thought, I could never bring my child to a game, that now they can, and they have these options. So it's just really cool to be able to connect what I do on a daily basis,
Yeah, for
to the
sure.
organization that I also work with the Eagles.
Yeah, and that's in the field that you're in, so it's cool that kind of links like together. That's pretty cool. Yeah. Well,
I was going to bring this out. I didn't know if it could see. Oh, you can see it.
oh
This is
yeah.
the one we had from the, oh, it's kind of blurry. From the, I can unblur my screen. I just
Oh
didn't
yeah.
want it for the actual thingy. But this is from the championship game.
Okay. And you also have some memorabilia. I wanted to see your Super Bowl pendant as well as your card picture.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So here is the pendant.
Oh, that's
I don't know if
legit.
you can see it.
Wow, that's the
And then
actual
on,
Super Bowl pendant
so
you guys got when.
it's the same ring.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
it's the ring, and then it's just the top of it, and then the back has our name and the
That's
year.
that's super cool. So you might get another one.
If we win, yes, we'll be able
Oh,
to be in that whole Super Bowl feel. And then I also have my here's my confetti from the
oh,
from the NFC Championship game. And then this is my trading card from this season. So
oh,
it's
so
really
you
cool. You can't see it on here, but on the back of the
okay.
card we have a bunch of information just about ourselves, and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool.
Oh, that's super cool. And that's the actual confetti from the NFC Championship game.
This is the confetti from the NFC Championship game. Yes.
Ah, that's
If if you would like some, I have a bag full of it. So
go
if you
give
have
it to Taylor. Yeah, I'm good. If it was the red and gold, I probably would have asked you for those for that.
yeah, I didn't even see the bag, so I don't even know
Yeah.
if where it went.
The rubbish. Well,
Hmm.
I hope because you're retired, you still maybe 1 year you want to do it again and try out for the Niners because I feel like you're a good luck charm, and maybe that's the little edge we need to get us to the Super Bowl. Maybe, who knows? That would be super cool. I appreciate you taking your time out, especially this week. I know it must be crazy. It's Super Bowl week. You have the team that's going in, and it's late right now up in Philadelphia.
It
So I
is,
do
but that's okay.
I do appreciate you coming on my show. I'll put this out before the game. So yeah, that'll be cool. And I hate to say it out loud, but hopefully these Eagles win for you guys, for Hoppa Boy, for Tomani, and for Donovan. I hope you guys get this win, and we're having a get together at my house, and all those boys will be here, and I really want to see them happy. So
So if that's the
good luck.
case, before we go, you have to do the Eagles chant with me then.
Oh, that's not happening. I rather
It's
give
really easy. You gotta spell out Eagles. You want to do
half
it?
the people in Hawaii can't do that. Yeah, I'm all about loyalty, and that's never gonna happen. Good try though, good try.
I did.
But yeah, thank you for coming on. People want to reach out or check you out. Where can they find you on social media?
So I have an Instagram. I'm not big on like social media, but I do have an Instagram. So you're always welcome to find me over there. And I was gonna say I could text it to you or give it to you so that you have it, or do you want me to just say it?
Yeah, you could just say it, and I'll
Oh,
I'll
okay.
put yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So if you want to find me, my cheer Instagram is core. So COR_C and then 17.
Okay. And for us, it's always Above the Bridge Podcast on Instagram, Facebook. Our YouTube page is Above the Bridge Podcast. Our website is atbpod.com. And our my Instagram is Thaddy Daddy High. Well, good luck. I hope you have fun in Japan. I hope you get to come back to
Thank
Hawaii
you.
soon and come check us out and celebrate with all our friends. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon. Thanks again for coming on, and good
We'll
luck.
get you to do that. We'll get you to do that Eagles chant once they. What about how about this? If they come with a victory, then you got to do the chant.
If you should have bet me when we were playing each other, because that probably would have been because I was sure we was gonna win that game. So I probably would have. But we play the Eagles next year in the regular season. So yeah.
I did see that on the schedule.
Yeah. So that'll be and it's gonna be in Philadelphia. So I'll bring Tomani
So
with me.
we'll both be in
Yeah.
the crowd cheering them on,
Yeah. And
watching
I'll
the
bring
game.
Tomani to ensure the Niners win. But thanks
He's not
again for
allowed in the stadium
yeah,
anymore.
he's banned. Well, shock us for the cameras. All right, we're done. Thank you. Shout out to the Artist Group Network. Aloha.